Hello, my name is Leo and welcome to a new day of the Elder Scrolls Arena. We are now fast traveling our way to 10 Mile Forest, which is a mere stepping stone towards Brynjolf's lair to slay the beast Brynjolf and make people at Iron very happy, because Ironvail's a great place. Yesterday, obviously, I accepted a quest that I shouldn't have, and as it turns out, I'm never actually going to be able to do that quest. That means I'm going to fail it. But, oh well, whatever. What can you do? Alright, well, today is Tuesday. That means that there is another, or the last for a while, Skyrim illusion only playthrough video. So get them while they're hot. There won't be any more for some time. So check that out. It doesn't show up in my main recently uploaded section for some stupid reason, which is really dumb, and YouTube should really fix that. But whatever. But you can check it out in the playlist, the Illusion Only playlist, or the most recent Skyrim playlist, which I believe we're up to series or season 3. Oh, I call them seasons. It's just, well, because you can only have 200 videos in a playlist, so I gotta call the second one something. I mean, I think originally I called it like Skyrim. The first one was like Skyrim, blah blah blah, Elder Scrolls, and then the second one was like more Skyrim. And then when I got to the third one, I'm like, wait a minute, how am I gonna keep doing this? Even more Skyrim? That gets confusing. Having just Elder Scrolls Skyrim Season 1, Season 2, Season 3 just makes it so much more easy and succinct. So that's why I did it. Alright, let's move on to the Borderlands 2 loot hunt. Okay, so today's target is Dukino's mum. Dukino! I remember Dukino. Dukino being part of the main, well, not main story, but he's part of the main game. He's not a DLC guy, which is interesting because today's, well, this week's presenters are Tiny Tina and Talk, none of which, well, actually, Tiny Tina's in the main game, so that's, yeah, I guess so. Anyway, Dukino's mum dropped the Logan's gun. I guess that's a play on words from Logan's Run, perhaps? And today's target was to kill 50,000 treants. Trants. I don't actually know what they are, so I'm guessing they're part of one of the DLCs. You know what? They are probably... okay. Reading it, okay. So if you wanted to use that flame gun, Logan's gun on something cool today, why don't you jump into my headbox and kill some trants during the B&B campaign? So that is, B&B is the, what is it? Bunkers and Badasses? That's it. So it's obviously an enemy in, Tiny Tina's, campaign. Fair enough. I'd be psyched, dog. Sorry, I was supposed to put a comma there, but now I'm thinking psyched dog would be a pretty good TV show, patent pending. Don't steal that idea or I will cut you. Oh, Tiny Tina. You're so funny. Now, I keep forgetting to do this, but let's have a look at the news, because they've upgraded some things in the game. I think I mentioned, well, I know I mentioned the Triple Trista update. I don't think I mentioned the secret update, which was, what's the update? Oh, it's a secret, but it's a bonus upgrade to the Morning Star, which gives it bonus damage for much longer. So I guess it's got something to do with, you know the one. Elemental damage effect. Then the next day we had the baby, which was the gun that was dropped that day, and it had increased power for more damage. Then we've got the baby maker, that is. Then we had the community reward unlocked, which was the skull masher that you can pick that we were able to pick up with the baby maker for Rouge. And then next we've got, yeah! Oh, this is the introduction to Talk and Tiny Tina's week of, what's the face? of the loot hunt. Then where are we up to? Monday. We had the Teeth of Terramorphous. Watch your spread because this shotgun has a bite to it. One that's more powerful and explosive than it was. Huh. That gun, actually, the Teeth, was actually a pretty interesting gun. It shoots multiple projectiles, out. It shoots a bunch in a line upwards and a bunch in a line downwards. And then they, after a while, they converge together. So it's kind of like, I guess, hence the name Teeth. It's sort of like a bite of bullets. It's weird. It didn't actually do as much damage as I'd hoped it would, but it's still a decent gun. And then we've got yesterday we had Logan's Gun Fun. Making explosives with Logan's gun is all the more fun now that it deals increased damage and has a larger radius for secondary explosions. Wow, I really want to try this gun now. I haven't actually used it yet, so it looks really interesting. Alright, well that's the Borderlands 2 Loot Hunt update, right in your ear holes. Moving on to blog time now. What do I have to talk about Japan? Well, I don't know what it is explicitly for, and I don't know what Americans call it, so forgive me for not really explaining what it is. Well, I'll explain what it is. For Australians, we call it a stormwater drain. But I think it actually serves more function than that. So there's this tiny little river, right? This tiny little canal that runs in front of our house. It actually runs along the side of the house too, but that's another story. It separates the road from the house. It's about 40-50 centimeters, so half a meter wide, and it runs down the entire street. Now, most roads in Japan have this. Most of them, the river is covered up either by actual concrete or a metal grate. But in a lot of areas, like especially suburbia and rural areas, like where we are, it's just left open. Actually, down the road it gets covered up, but where we are, it's completely open. Now, what that means is, like I said, there's this little river. It's a tiny little river, but it separates the road from the actual driveway of the house. So you got to build these bridges, these tiny little bridges, to bridge the gap between the road and the and I've seen it. Even one of a main thoroughfare, one of the most main thoroughfares in our town, has this river running down the side of it, so that all of the shops that that river runs in front of, there's these stupid little bridges everywhere. It's not just bridge all the way. It's these tiny little bridges all over the shop. And I just think it's just another thing, like I was saying about the garbage. The way that Japan's doing it, their city planning, their infrastructure, it's just not very efficient. It's just a complete waste of energy and money. And it surprises me because when I think of Japan, I think of things being efficient and things like hotels and apartment buildings being really small to save space. Space saving is actually a really huge thing in Japan. You buy a apartment in the city and it's just one big room with an adjoining bathroom. And the one big room does everything. It's got a little kitchenette area. When it's come to go to bed, you open the cupboard and you pull out your futon, you roll it out, and you sleep on your futon on the floor. And in the morning, you roll it up and you shove it back in the cupboard, and then you pull out the table, the coffee table, and then you can use it as a living space and dining space. So it's just that level of efficiency and space saving and stuff like that, then you come to things like the garbage, which is a complete waste of energy. I guess, okay, in some respects, I guess it's good because, you know, all the stuff's sorted so that it makes the actual recycle process easier. Sure, I get that. And certainly burning the trash, even though I think it's stupid because it's really bad for the environment and it smells like shit. Burning the garbage is also really efficient in the fact that it saves a lot of space. I don't know if when they burn it, they somehow utilize it as fuel, but I don't think so because most of Japan's nuclear anyway. And then the whole thing that I was explaining about having to carry the bags down to the local place, it's so dumb. It's just really dumb. To be fair, that I'm pretty sure that's something that was agreed upon by like the local. I say the local council. It's not really the local council. It's really just the houses in the neighborhood coming together once a month to decide on things and set rules. So it's really more like a body corporate. In fact, that's exactly what it is, a body corporate. And so it was their decision to say, because, you know, a lot of places in Japan, you just leave the garbage out the front. But then, I mean, why not just have a bin of some description that you can put your rubbish into? I mean, it's just really dumb. And then you get to these bridges where you gotta pay for these bridges. And the bridge that is in front of our house, recently, it's probably been there for like 30 years. I don't know. Shio's parents have been living there for I don't know how long, like forever. I believe that house has been around since before World War One because the wife's grandfather lived here, and he actually died in the war. So, so I think so the bridge, I don't know if the bridge has actually been replaced since it was first created, and as such it starts crumbling away, and that makes me super nervous because it's really thin, and we drive over it in cars, and I'm so scared of it just giving way, breaking down, and me falling into this tiny river. Sure, I'm not going to drown because it's tiny, but you can imagine how, like, the car would just be, it wouldn't be a write-off, but it'd be, it costs so much money to, one, get it out, and two, fix it. And then you gotta fix the bridge. But recently we did actually get some renovations done, and we actually got, a new bridge, and B, we widened it so it's huge now. Because, the house on the other side of the road, right, like I said, I've mentioned this before, Japanese roads in suburbia are really tiny. And on the other side of the road, the house on the other side of the road has this concrete fence that goes right to the edge of the road, right? And it's high, so there's no, like, and because the road's small, and the bridge was also very narrow, it's really hard to get out of the friggin' house. But now we've widened it to like huge amounts, like double the size it was before, and it's super easy to get in and out of the house, so that's great. But yeah, these rivers, right? So yeah, I've already mentioned it's about 1/2 meter wide. So when I said it was a storm water drain, so in Australia we've got you know, the gutter goes into what we call a storm water drain, which, as the name suggests, is meant for storm water, as in rainwater only. You're not meant to actually dump real, like, sewage or oil or garbage, or you're not even supposed to let, like, soap suds and stuff go into it if you wash your car. You're supposed to wash your car on the grass so that it goes into the ground. Because the storm water drains flow directly into the rivers and oceans nearby. So there's no, like, water treatment done on the water completely. So sewage is a completely separate thing. Now, this stormwater drain, these rivers, I'm pretty sure they are meant to function in the same fashion, but I've noticed a lot of people just dumping shit into it. I've seen, like, gross friggin' images of dudes pissing in it, which is disgusting. I've also seen dudes pissing in friggin' rice fields, which grosses me out, because now whenever I eat rice, I think about friggin' how much piss is on it. But to be fair, the rice is like washed 50,000 times before it makes it to my plate. But yeah, and like, you know, the houses in the local area all have rice fields, so they usually put a pump into the river and pump out the water from that to spray onto their rice fields. So it's also used for irrigation. Now the funny thing is that a lot of the time the river is quite low. Like it's usually like an inch deep of water in that thing. So there's not a lot. It's really not half a meter. Half a meter is actually a lot more than. It's more like, let's say 1/3 of a meter. Yeah, whatever that is in friggin' feet. It's an inch worth of water is not a lot, and the pump is like huge, and it like churns it, like needs, you know, more height in water to be able to actually pump it out. So what they usually do is they usually dam it. They usually put a block like just after the pump, which, okay, fair enough, you need your water. So what that does is it makes the water level rise huge amounts, right, in front of our house, but then after the dam it's completely like nothing. Like before it was an inch, now it's like a centimeter. And like if there's another farm down the road that wants to use that water, they can't. It's friggin' stupid. God, people, come together, start organizing, you know, cooperate with your friggin' endeavors. But I guess that's a Japanese thing of not like just doing your own thing. Like I remember someone was talking about indie games and how you know there's fairly decent indie scene in America. That in Japan, indie developers or indie gamers, people making indie games, they don't really, there's no real like indie scene. It's just like individual people selling stuff out of like booths in Akihabara or whatever. Like they don't really like talk to each other or cooperate in any way. And if they did, obviously, you know, we'd be able to see a lot more cool stuff coming out of Japan in terms of indie games. But yeah, so this silly little river, and then when it rains, like even a moderate to heavy amount, the river is nigh overflowing, and that's without the dam, right? And I'm like, but recently there was a typhoon, and I was like, oh god, the river's gonna like overflow, but then, the rain stopped. I'm like, it's really, really like high, like the water's really, really high, like we're gonna get flooded, cause yeah, and then the wife said, no, it's fine, it flows out like really quickly, and it did. It just disappeared, like from. I was like, oh, okay, because that totally doesn't happen in my hometown in Australia. There was actually a big flood a few years back because it rained a lot, and we got a huge dam, and they should have released the water more like slowly, but they didn't release it a lot at all, and then they realized, oh crap, the dam's about to burst, quick, release water, and all that water just flowed down and flooded the place, and the place stayed flooded even after the water had stopped flowing. The place stayed flooded for a long time because, you know, the water just stays there. Whereas at least these rivers, the water flows and it disappears and it goes wherever it goes quite quickly. Yeah, so that is Japanese rivers. They're called, I think they're called yosui. I think that's the name. So it's not really a river. It's actually a gutter, but it's a completely open gutter. Gutter slash stormwater drain, I guess. But for now, or water runoff. But yeah, so tomorrow we'll still be on our way to 10 Mile Forest. But for now, my name is Leo, and I will see you next time.